Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Annalisa from C.A.C. Global Solutions. Today I'm here with Bret for our first episode of Storytime with Bret. For those of you who received our newsletter, you know that we decided to start this series and where Bret is going to talk about some of the experiences that he had as an aircraft maintenance engineer and a civil aviation authority inspector. So I look forward to the first story. So please go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is all going to be very interesting. There's lots to tell from the years gone by. So the first story, I wanted to give each story a title. This one I'm calling the Telltale Tale.
Okay.
The story happens, I was working as an aircraft maintenance engineer for a commercial air operator in Edmonton, Canada. And we were taking care of two Fokker F-27s, a Lear 35 Beechcraft King Air, and a couple other King Air 90, a couple other aircraft. We had two Fokker F-27s that would fly commercial air charters during the week. Saturday morning, one aircraft would come back to Edmonton, and we would do a post-flight inspection on the aircraft and then have it put away in the hangar for the weekend. Well, Saturday morning came, the aircraft arrived. It was outside. It was sunny early summer morning. And I did the post-flight inspection. Everything looked fine. Filled out my checklist, put everything away, signed off the post-flight inspection, and then went home, leaving the aircraft outside for the hangar attendants to put it away. So Monday morning comes, and the aircraft's inside the hangar, and I do the pre-flight inspection for the aircraft, and I find on the trailing edge flap, on the wing flap, on the trailing edge of it, about 5 feet out from the engine nacelle, the right-hand engine nacelle, there's a dent in the trailing edge of the flap. This dent is about 1 inch wide and maybe 3/4 of an inch deep. It's a gouge. It looks like somebody ran a stand or something into the trailing edge. So we looked around the hangar high and low, trying to match up whatever stands we had, scaffold, whatever, to see what was it that caused this damage. And of course we asked everybody, and nobody saw or knew anything about it, right? So fine. We got into the SRM, and of course we had to effect repairs. Meanwhile, the aircraft was scheduled for a flight, so we had to cancel the flight. We had to go through the SRM, come up with a repair scheme, check the wing flap for transmitted damage, make sure there's no other associated damage, and perform a sheet metal repair on the aircraft. So that all went okay on the Monday. Monday night, the aircraft repositioned to where it should have been that day. And meanwhile, we're still asking around, asking everybody if they knew anything about it. And of course, nobody knew anything about it. So then, excuse me. So then later in the week, we're doing a scheduled inspection on our Lear 35. And from the ground, looking up on the rudder tab, there's something didn't quite look right. So we got the stands out and we went up to take a closer look. And what we found was some metal speed tape over top some damage on the rudder tab, and then painted over white. So somebody clearly ran the one aircraft into the other, saw the damage on the Lear, and decided they'd best do something about it. And they literally covered it up. And of course, again, nobody said anything, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So of course, we start inspecting the rudder tab and for transmitted damage and such. And the rudder tab, actually, the spar of the rudder tab was bent. We ended up replacing the rudder tab on that aircraft.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, we're talking a high performance business aircraft jet that, I mean, quite easily, flight control flutter has caused many accidents, so whoever did this, I mean, this is completely reprehensible. Shouldn't never have happened. And I mean, there are different reasons why it might have happened, I'm guessing. Again, it shouldn't have ever happened, but let's talk maybe a little bit about what was wrong and how it
Yeah.
might have went wrong.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have a curiosity though. Do you know, or do you remember if the Learjet actually flew with that damage?
Yes, it did actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the aircraft had flown, I think, probably 3 days
Okay.
since we noticed the damage on the F-27,
Uh-huh.
and when we noticed it on the Learjet. And as soon as we saw it on the Learjet, it was like a light bulb moment. All of a sudden, we instantly matched the two together, and of
Yeah.
course, they were the right height, and it was clear that it was. They contacted each other, and nobody said anything.
Yeah. So, and this happened how many years ago?
Oh. We're talking probably 1997.
Okay, so SMS wasn't a big thing.
No, actually, SMS hadn't really. I mean, if it did exist, really, it wasn't common knowledge at all. So,
Yeah.
the idea, the concept of non-punitive reporting simply wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this company had a history of punitive
Okay.
punitive actions because some of the hangar attendants had overextended or failed to disengage the nose steering on the Learjet 2 times in a row, causing major damage to the nose gear.
Oh, wow.
And both of those people were fired.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the company actually embodied or created an environment where nobody wanted to say anything about doing
Yeah.
any wrong because it meant your job,
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, I don't think there is the need for us to explain why this was wrong, but it's quite interesting. So, well, first of all, like you just said, the company attitude towards mistakes that sometimes happen,
Yeah.
it wasn't really conductive to people be transparent, even though it's not an excuse,
No.
obviously.
No, clearly, the environment wasn't conducive to transparency. When I first started in aviation, 18 years old, I was washing the airplane one night in a hangar all by myself, and I'm using a brush, and all of a sudden, twink! This part fell on the ground, and I thought to myself, "Oh no!" Being new to aircraft, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if it was a pitot tube or for sensing airspeed or what it was, right? So begrudgingly, I picked up the phone, I called my boss, and an engineer came out and looked at it and said, "Oh, that's a nacelle water drain. Don't worry about it. We can manage for the flight tomorrow." But what it did, it instilled in me that it is safe to say something in the right environment. And also that I believe another thing it did for me is it instilled trust in my boss that I could be trusted to be left alone, and if something were to happen, I would come forward with it.
Yeah, for sure. It's a matter of being able to take responsibilities and also grow from those actions. Because the other thing that I was thinking is that the behavior of this company with the Learjet and firing people, did they ever assess if there was a fault from the company side? Meaning, sometimes you just need more training or a better training.
Maybe a wing walker. Who knows,
yeah,
right?
exactly,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, no, there, of course, was way before those times. Nobody considered things like that. But, again, going back to my first job, I remember when that did happen to me, my boss told me something that I carry with me today is that what he said is, if you don't ever make a mistake, if you don't ever break anything or screw anything up, you're not doing anything. So, it really depends on the mindset, right?
Yeah.
And of course, today with SMS, that's part of what we're aiming for.
Yeah. So obviously the right steps were obviously to report what happened and make an entry in the logbook. This is something that we are particularly passionate about because we have been dealing with a lot of projects and aircraft where there is a tendency of not reporting problems or issues or defects. And the reality is that if they are not reported in a logbook, they don't exist.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's obviously very important. But it goes beyond that because, I mean, one would never expect a hangar attendant to make a logbook entry for damage that might have occurred to an aircraft. But it has to be understood that every aspect is important, even pushing an airplane around. And that if something goes wrong, you need to see something, say something, right?
Exactly.
And if you report it to the proper people, they'll make the entries and it'll all be done the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah. Also because you just whoever did this damage left the aircraft flying for a few days, so that is a big.
In my mind, that's criminal.
Yeah.
If something would have happened and somebody would have gotten hurt, that's in all likelihood you could go to jail for something like that.
Yeah, for sure. So for both airplanes, what should have happened is that, again, somebody should have reported it to appropriate people who can make the entry and manage the defect. So go to the SRM, like you were explaining, to see if the damage is inside of limit, outside of limit, and if that damage caused other problems around the aircraft systems or whatever. And then obviously do the maintenance action and report the maintenance action in the logbook and in the technical records of the aircraft. Those are also particularly interesting to me and important because some of these damages require repairs that require repetitive tasks over time.
Yeah, for sure. And with high performance aircraft, like a lot of the business aircraft, particularly on flight controls, the damage tolerances are very, very low. I've seen with a Challenger 604 a flight spoiler, be deflected by 45 thousandths of an inch, and it had to be replaced. So yeah, there's no knowing how critical it is. So you need to report it. It needs to be investigated and addressed appropriately.
Yeah, in some ways, I feel that the system has improved over the years, but we still have some.
Well, the system, in my mind, yes, the system has, but there's just something fundamentally wrong with somebody that takes tape and literally covers something over.
Yeah.
That goes beyond SMS or anything. That's just.
Yeah, that's just wrong. Yeah, and I wonder if it was somebody, maybe a young mechanic, like you were saying about yourself while you were washing the airplane. You don't know what it is, you panic and you just do something, or it was maybe a person with some experience, and that to me it's even worse because that is really planned, right?
Yeah, either way, I don't have time for it. It's completely reprehensible.
Oh no, for sure. I'm not trying to make excuse, but sometimes I wonder what triggered that kind of response. Okay, so this was our first episode of Storytime with Bret, and we basically covered two stories today because you share also your incident with the airplane and the washing. That was quite interesting. So I would say what we can say is that always report what's going on. Don't be afraid, and so that things can be managed properly,
right? And
improve the system, because aviation belongs to everyone, and we are all responsible for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to these stories because I've got a few good ones that people will just shake their heads at.
I know. We already shared a lot of the story between us over coffee, so they are quite interesting. I look forward to the next episode too. So thank you very much for staying with us for this brief episode. We're gonna publish another episode, every month. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn and on our website, cacglobalsolutions.com. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.